let's talk about the next segment, the final segment we want to talk about before fan questions, and that is Splatoon 3. It's getting some large-scale paid DLC, as you see on the screen right now. Large-scale paid DLC. Not even Octo expansion was called large-scale paid DLC. It was just an expansion. It was a paid DLC, but it wasn't large-scale. The fact that they're saying large-scale makes me think it's going to be big. And now, as we can see in this picture, that is clearly Pearl and Marina. At least that's who it looks like, the host from Splatoon 2. And if you guys remember, at the end of Splatoon 2, the final Splatfest was Chaos versus Order. And I'm pretty sure Chaos won. I should probably look that up, but I'm pretty sure Chaos won. So whatever this is, I think it's going to be building off that because Pearl and Marina are seemingly absent in the main campaign. So clearly they got this whole campaign dedicated to them. But I want to talk not about the story, whether, Chaos or Order, blah, blah, blah. I just want to talk about what, like, gameplay-wise this could be. Because in the Treehouse today, the very little of what I saw was the single-player campaign, but they are combining Splatoon 1 and 2's campaign with Octo expansion. They let you, like, choose your loadout, and different loadouts give you different rewards, like in Octo expansion. And some of the levels look just like Octo expansion and have similar gameplay to that, but some of them are more like the base campaign levels that we've come to know and love from the first two installments. I don't think this DLC can or will be just another Octo expansion or another single-player campaign in the style of Octo expansion or 1 or 2, because Splatoon 3's single-player campaign really does seem to be the culmination of that, and it even said so in the direct. They said this is the culmination of, like, this Splat-tastic story or something when talking about the single-player campaign. So I have a couple ideas to toss out about what this paid DLC could be, because I do not think it's just going to be another typical Splatoon single-player campaign that everyone seems to think it is, because I feel like that just wouldn't make sense considering we're kind of getting the culmination of that already in the game. So I think multiplayer-wise, they got to be very careful if they make this a multiplayer type of game, because we saw this in the base Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. It's always a little messy when you split up your player base for multiplayer games with paid DLC, because I don't think they're gonna make it so only the half of the consumer base that buys the paid DLC will actually be able to play this multiplayer mode, because then you only have half of the install base to matchmake with. It's just going to be a little weird if they do that. I think it's possible, though, that this is a big open world Splatoon campaign, because that's not something we've gotten before. Everyone kind of thought Splatoon 3's campaign was going to be open world because it looked like that from the initial reveal trailer, but it's not. It just isn't. We can see that in the footage now, now that we have, like, better luck. Excuse me. Do you guys think this will be kind of an open world Splatoon campaign that leans more into RPG elements? Or if not, what do you think it could be? Because I got a couple ideas even for multiplayer, despite the fact that it would be messy if they did that. Again, with Mario Kart 8, they did it anyway. It was messy, but they did it. So it's possible. I'm just curious what you guys want to say first.
So I personally think it's going to be multiplayer, because I feel like rehashing another, like, Octo expansion after already putting a new story mode in, it just, I don't know. I don't think that's where they would go with this. I think the way they'll go is they'll go multiplayer, but I don't think it'll be an issue, because the way Mario Kart's multiplayer works is that it's just racing on new tracks. Like, it's basically like it's the same thing. But I feel like with this multiplayer DLC that they could put out, it could be an entirely, like, new mode with a different lobby. Like, my idea, of course, is Battle Royale. I think you go to, like, a different, like, store or whatever, you go in there, and then you go into the lobby, and it's just the people with the DLC.
So you don't think that would be an issue then, splitting up the player base?
No, I don't think so, because with that, like, if they were adding, like, a new ranked mode, I don't think that would be an issue with. I think that would be an issue, just like how with Mario Kart DLC tracks, but I don't think it would be an issue with Battle Royale, because it's like, it's a different kind of Splatoon mode. Like,
yeah,
it would be kind of like Salmon Run. I think if Salmon Run was DLC, I think it wouldn't be an issue for Splatoon 2.
I kind of understand that. I understand that line of thinking. I initially thought it wasn't possible, but you've kind of convinced me. I think it is definitely doable. What are your thoughts on, like, what this could be or how they're going to handle it, PJ?
I mean, I'm with Mac. I think hopefully it's a battle royale. They have to be very careful with all of this, of course, because there's the expansion pack possibility with that entire thing. But, like, this also scares me a little bit, or not scares me a little bit, but back to, previous points where we're saying, like, half-baked games. And I'm not saying that Splatoon 3 is going to be half-baked, but like if we're going to have to wait to play like, this new battle royale mode or something like this, or like even a new like sort of multiplayer like Mac was talking about, like I think I would kind of have a problem with it. I wish it would have been like delayed rather than us having to like pay for this, but it's interesting because I didn't have like high thoughts of Splatoon 3 initially anyway, just based off of like what I saw early, but this could change my opinion, so just got to wait and see what that is, because as of right now, I'm not going to be buying it because I'm, not the biggest Splatoon fan, but, I would like to play it casually, but I can't really, like, justify it just based on, like, what I've seen, like, difference-wise,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Could you explain more about, like, what your open world idea is? Because I didn't really...
Yeah. So I was thinking more along the lines of... I hate to say Breath of the Wild because that's everyone's instant open world, comparison. But a massive one-level map, think more along the lines of Bowser's Fury with Lake Lapcat. But mix in some RPG elements. So you start off, on some island. And islands actually work perfectly because I don't know how much you guys know about Splatoon, but you can't enter the water as an Inkling, despite the fact that they're like squids or octopuses. Like, that kills them. So you start off on like some island, and instead of just going, get into like the teacup or whatever they have in the base game, or choose a stop on the subway and do your battle. It's all kind of in one world, and then you find little collectibles that could either help you reload faster, swim faster while you're in and kind of like the abilities do in the different clothes that you can buy in in the multiplayer. And then you could find different weapons and whatnot, and maybe what instantly comes to mind for me is Chaos versus Order. I just looked it up. Chaos did win this Splatfest, so you could be on like the side of like the Order team trying to restore order to this crazy area because everything's chaotic. It's chaos.
Yeah.
And so you'll be working with Marina, I guess. Maybe Pearl could be the boss because she was on Chaos's team during the Splatfest, or she could have realized the error in her ways and she's working with the Order team now as well. And you take you go fight different people, try and restore order to this massive area. You get some RPG elements in like that, and maybe you go, you're gathering around trying to make your Inkling stronger because there's like a final boss which everyone can see. It's like right in the middle, and you can challenge it at any time, but it's way too hard when you start out. You got to progress your Inkling, get yourself up to a level where you think you could take on the boss, and if you play the boss and you still get wiped, you go out, do more challenges, find more collectibles, do more hunting. And then, you take it on. I think if they were to do a single player, that would have to be the way, because they cannot, as you said, Mac, they cannot go back to Octo expansion. They cannot go back to the campaign, because we will have now had 4 campaigns. Splatoon 1's campaign, I think it was Octo...
5 campaigns.
Octo Valley.
Because you got the 3 plus Octo expansion.
Plus Octo expansion.
We're at 4 right now.
We're at 4. There will have been 4
crazy.
campaigns like previously. They can't then drop a 5th campaign of the same thing. I think that's just too...
Because also, because I feel like Splatoon, like, people, they play Splatoon for the multiplayer. They don't play it for the single player, in my opinion. Like, single player is, like, fun to get, like, used to the controls, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think the main draw of Splatoon is multiplayer and, like, the camaraderie with Splatfest and all that stuff. I feel like... I just hate that it's paid DLC. If it was free DLC, then
Agreed.
like I feel, I don't know. It's super tough. If it's gonna be paid, I feel like it's got to be multiplayer, and I feel like it's got to be big. So
it could be Battle Royale. That's why I've been, that's why I wanted to bring this up, because the way you phrased it about being multiplayer makes complete sense, because I initially thought there's no way they split up the multiplayer player base, but if it's not even in the lobby, if it's in a completely different area of Splatsville, which is what they're calling the hub world, then that makes sense to me, because you could it would be like Octo expansion. You just go over there and it's like, oh, you can't access this area unless you buy the blah blah blah, whatever. Yeah. And then once you pay for it, then you get in, and of course you're only
maybe that's what the train is for. What, because you saw the train in the original trailer. What is the train used for in the game? Do we know?
I think it gets you from the customization area, which is like the place with the Eiffel Tower flipped upside down, and I think it's called the Splatlands. It gets you from there to Splatsville, which is the hub world area. So it's possible that there's another stop on that train. I personally I know that the demo, the global testfire demo or global Splatfest demo is now you can download it and go into it and explore Splatsville. I personally haven't yet, but I'm sure there's all sorts of nooks and crannies where they could add stuff within that, kind of like how the subway station in Splatoon 1 or Splatoon 2 ended up being the Octo expansion. But like before, it was just some random subway station that people just thought was there for, decoration and world building. So I don't know. It's very, very interesting though. Multiplayer now does kind of seem like the way they're going with this, and I think we can all agree. I just want to bring this up, just see if anyone disagrees. This will be included in the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass.
100%.
I was
saying, right?
I've been waiting to ask that question. Yep, agreed.
Yeah.
Because they have to keep
terrible.
Yeah, they have to keep building that because it's getting there for me, for it being worth the purchase. I think I would like to see another like Nintendo Switch Online like retro library of games added on top of this like paid DLC, whether that be like Game Boy, GameCube, whatever, before I would be like, okay, like I think this is worth now. But for sure. It has to be. It has to be. I mean, it's one of Nintendo's biggest franchises. Like, we talked about this last episode. Nintendo's internally what they consider their big four is Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing, and Splatoon now. So has to be. Agreed.
Yeah, I think I just want to see if anyone disagreed with that. I think we're all on the same page and on the right page. Because even Octo expansion,
and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I thought that the way they were going to do it was only have multiplayer expansions in the expansion pass, because the first one was they launched it obviously with Happy Home Designer, which is inherently multiplayer because it's Animal Crossing. Then they put the Booster Course Pass on it, but then they also put Octo Expansion Pass on it, or the Octo Expansion on it, which is solely single player. So I guess that doesn't really mean it's going to be single player or multiplayer. I'm kind of leaning towards multiplayer. If it's multiplayer, Battle Royale would be huge. Maybe I don't even think if it's multiplayer they could do a bigger version of Turf Wars, like a 10v10, because even then that's like not enough to warrant a new purchase. I'm just trying to think what other like shooter games, not games, but what
there
other
was your
shooter,
Bed
like,
Wars idea, which I love.
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea.
Bed Wars. I made a short about that on the Switch Shop channel. If you guys don't know what Mac's talking about.
Could it be gun game? Is that a thing?
Ooh,
I've
that's
thought
a good
about
idea.
that. I think I mentioned that in a past video, maybe a video I scrapped. I definitely thought about Splatoon gun game. I feel like if they did that though, it would be a new ranked mode for like the anarchy battles or the ranked system that they've talked about. It's possible that it's gun game though, because I guess gun game would have to be solo. Yeah. Because you could do team gun game, but that's a little finicky the way that would work. Yeah. It could be gun game, because that would be the first ever multiplayer Splatoon thing where you're not with a team of 4.
Yeah.
So it's possible. There's.
No, I was just gonna explain like the concept of it, because like obviously this is a Nintendo podcast, and like Call of Duty, which is what the concept of gun game is. A lot of people might not know. So basically, gun game is I believe it was like lobbies of like 8 or 12 or something like that, and you were solo. You would start with like a pistol or something like that, and then when you would kill somebody, your gun would like you'd get like a different gun, and you'd have to get like 30 kills to like win the thing, and you'd get a different gun after every kill. And then if you were to get like knifed or something, then you would get like demoted back to the gun that you had before. So obviously you could start with like some really terrible Splatoon weapon, and then get like a really, really good one, and maybe it could be like 15 kills, but like a smaller scale. But sorry, just wanted to like explain that, because like obviously Nintendo and Call of Duty isn't very the
crossover might not be too big. The Venn diagram's pretty, the circles are in different rooms.
Literally.
I think it's interesting. Gun game is actually a good idea, because I thought about that being a new ranked mode like Clan Blitz or Splat Zones, but I don't think that would work super well, because you would have to make it a solo game.
The way, but like the terminology, true. I feel like the terminology large scale paid DLC, like that. I mean that has to be Battle Royale, right? Like, come on,
Yeah, but at the same time, they put in the picture of Pearl and Marina,
which makes me think solo, like
single player,
a story mode thing.
Yeah, because all of the idols have had or not idols. I don't know. Is that what they're called? Like all of the
I think
the stars or whatever. Yeah,
or the hosts or whatever.
All of the hosts have had like not ramifications, but they've had roles in the single player, and even Pearl and Marina, they had roles in the Octo expansion. They were actually huge parts of that. So seeing them coming back for a new paid DLC makes me think it has to do something with the Chaos vs. Order Splatfest, right? because
Possibly, yeah.
that was literally the biggest Splatfest of all time. It was called like Splatpocalypse. They said, I'm pretty sure they said that whoever wins this will have like, there will be ramifications for the next game. I remember that being like talked about. So I think that it's got to do something. It's got to be something with that, because they've already told Pearl and Marina's like stories. They've told like, you know, how they met, like all of that stuff through the Octo expansion and like the little logs there. So it's got to be something with that Splatfest. Chaos First Order though, like Chaos wins, and what is a battle royale if not chaotic? So maybe it's something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. There's so much that this game could be. Who knows really though? This is just all speculation, as I'm sure you listeners can tell. No one has any ideas. And if you guys have any ideas like of what it could be, whether it's, you know, expanding on our battle royale concept, expanding on my open world concept, something different entirely, leave a comment on this video. If you're an audio listener, tweet us at Nintendo Tonight, or just go to our YouTube channel, Nintendo Tonight, leave us a comment and drop a like and subscribe while you're there. Again, hate saying it, but you know, we talked about this literally at the start of the podcast. It does work. That's why YouTubers say it.